This event, Michelle
Obama is a champion. He is a courageous voice for working with special women who drive the bus, women who teach our children, women who take care of us in the hospitals and the convalescent homes, immigrant women who clean our offices at night and clean the hotel rooms in those luxurious hotels all over this nation. Women who pick the fruits and the vegetables in the fields, like my mother, like my sisters, the way that we did in a family of 11 migrant farm workers. I support Barack Obama because I know that he will protect us and make sure that we have rights on the job, to make sure that we have living wages, and that we are not the victims of sexual harassment. He's a champion of women who put their lives on the line to protect our country in the streets of our cities and in the war-torn streets of Iraq. And it's no wonder, because Barack Obama was raised by a strong woman, and he married a strong woman, and his daughters are growing up to be strong women, and he's supported by strong women. I want to acknowledge the women who came before me, the two highest ranking women in the California legislature, Gloria Romero, Karen Bass, Pomona Mayor, Norma Torres, and how about Ms. Victoria Hopper, and finally, Ms. Susan Ann Cuddy. It is my pleasure to introduce another woman whose father lifted the spirits of our nation. She inspired all Americans to ask themselves, not what this country can do for you, but what can you do for your country? I am honored and humbled to introduce Caroline Kennedy. Candidate who inspires me the way people say that my father inspired them. But I do now, and that candidate is Barack Obama. It's rare to find a leader who can help us believe in ourselves, tie that belief to our highest ideals, and imagine that together we can do great things. And when that kind of leader comes along, we need to put aside our plans and reach for what we know is possible. That's the kind of opportunity we have in choosing Senator Obama. We need need a president who appeals to the hopes of those who still believe in the American dream.
and those around the world who believe in the American ideal. And I believe Barack Obama will be that president. Senator Obama believes in an America where all of us can reach for our dreams, no matter what our race, religion, or gender. He knows it's wrong for people, for women, to have to choose between their kids and their careers. As president, he will double funding for after-school programs that help children learn and give parents relief. He'll make child care affordable. He'll require employers to give workers 7 paid sick days a year and make sure that every state adopts paid leave so we can give women the support we need to balance work and family. And when it comes to education, which is an issue that I care about, and so do many other women, Barack Obama has a vision for our children's future. He'll invest in early childhood education, give our teachers more pay and support, and make college affordable by offering a $4,000 tax credit to anyone who's willing to spend time serving their community. So I hope because I get to introduce somebody who is not my Uncle Teddy. Well, let's hear it for Uncle Teddy. He's done a great job out here. In a few minutes, we're going to hear from the amazing Michelle Obama. But before we do, I'd like to say a few words about another phenomenal woman, Oprah Winfrey. Oprah has inspired every one of us to dream big dreams and work hard to make them come true. She's transformed America into a nation of readers, connected us to the power of ideas and the power of hope, and shown our entire nation that each of us can succeed when those around us are empowered. Her life is a testament to how one woman can change the world. And at last, finally, Oprah and I have something in common. We both usually shy away from getting involved in politics, but each of us knew that this year was different. Barack Obama is the kind of leader who comes along only once in a very long time. And we needed to step out of our lives and into this moment in history to do everything we can to help Senator Obama become our next president. Ladies and gentlemen, Oprah Winfrey.
Thank you. I believe the change has already come, California. Look at this crowd. I believe the change has already come. Because I know y'all just heard about this morning. and said, let me get on over there to UCLA. Here on a Super Bowl Sunday, and we know it's Super Bowl Sunday, and we know who's doing all the work for these parties. We know. I want to thank all of you who love football and all things football, and love those who love football, because I know what this means to be out here. Thank you so much. But I also know, I know what you said to yourself. You said, just for a moment, that party's got to wait for a minute, because there's another kind of party going on over there at UCLA. We got another kind of party. It's a party about principles and possibilities, and a party about change we can believe in. We have the chance, California, to go from Super Bowl Sunday into Super Tuesday for Barack Obama. In 48 hours, we can do that. Let me say, yes, we can. Yes, we can. California. Love it. Thank you. I believe the change has already come, California. Look at this crowd. I believe the change has already come. Because I know y'all just heard about this morning and said, let me get on over there to UCLA. Here on a Super Bowl Sunday, and we know it's Super Bowl Sunday, and we know who's doing all the work for these parties. We know. I want to thank all of you who love football and all things football, and love those who love football, because I know what this means to be out here. Thank you so much. But I also know, I know what you said to yourself. You said, just for a moment, that party's got to wait for a minute, because there's another kind of party going on over there at UCLA. We got another kind of party. It's a party about principles and possibilities, and a party about change we can believe in. We have the chance, California, to go from Super Bowl Sunday into Super Tuesday for Barack Obama. In 48 hours, we can do that. Let me say, yes, we can. Yes, we can. All right. I have to tell you that last Sunday, this time last Sunday, I was dancing in my PJs when I first read that op-ed article by Caroline Kennedy. Yes, I was. I was dancing, I was in the kitchen, reading the paper, and I started dancing in my PJs. Because, Caroline, you spoke to the heart of what I was feeling and the heart of what so many Americans have been feeling. We, too, have not had a president who inspired us the way people say they were inspired by your father, President John F. Kennedy, until now. And so for the first time, just like you, in our voting lives, we are moved to think about politics and the power of its possibility in a different kind of way. Because when is the last time anybody in here was at a campaign rally? When's the last time that happened to you? We're all energized. We're excited. We're excited. And we're fired up. We're fired up for the change that has already come. We're fired up because of one man, Barack Obama, who has been able to touch our hearts and touched our hope and already shown us the change. I know you can feel it. I know you can feel it. That's why you came out here in the rain, because you can feel it. You can feel the spirit and the energy and intelligence he has already brought to this election process. And just imagine what he's going to do when he gets in the White House. We can feel it already. He has already changed the way we see ourselves and the way we see each other. Iowa and South Carolina prove that. And with your help, California, he can change the way the rest of the world sees us. Come this Tuesday. This is, I believe, a unique moment in our collective history of women's rights and civil rights, because so many people have struggled that we would have the right as women people and the right as black people to be considered as equals. And now look at this campaign. The two front runners, a black man and a woman. What that says to me is we have won the struggle. We have won the right to compete fairly and be considered as viable candidates, because this election itself is a declaration of victory for women's rights and civil rights. And now we are free. We are free for the first time to be able to take full advantage of all the rights and privileges of American citizenship we struggled so long to achieve. We are free with the right to vote our minds and our hearts. We are free. We are free to be led. We are free to be led by our hearts. We are free from the constrictions of gender and race. And for the first time, we can just vote as we believe. We can vote as we believe. And we can do that because that is what the struggle was for. That was what the struggle was for. You know, after Iowa, there were some women who had the nerve to say to me, "How could you, Oprah? How could you? You're a traitor to your gender." Yes. That's how I felt. I was both surprised by that comment and insulted, because I've been a woman my whole life. And every part of me believes in the empowerment of women, but the truth is I'm a free woman. I'm a free woman. I'm a free woman. I'm a free woman. And being free means you get to think for yourself, and you get to decide for yourself what to do. So I say I am not a traitor No, I'm not a traitor. I'm just following my own truth, and that truth has led me to Barack Obama. Oh, yeah. That truth has led me to Barack Obama. And I too look forward to the day when I will vote for this office, and this election has proven that that is possible. But for me, when you have a man like Barack Obama, who says, as Toni Morrison said, do y'all see what Toni Morrison said? Toni Morrison says, in thinking about the strength of the candidates, I'm gonna quote her here, she says, I stunned myself when I came to the following conclusion, that in addition to keen intelligence, integrity, and a rare authenticity, Barack exhibits something that has nothing to do with age, experience, race, or gender, and something we don't see in any other candidate. That something, she said, is creative imagination, which coupled with brilliance equals wisdom. And wisdom is a gift. You can't train for wisdom. You can't inherit wisdom. You can't learn wisdom. You can't get wisdom in the workplace. Barack Obama has the gift of wisdom. And then this election just brought out the best in folks. Because I heard from some narrow-minded folks who said I was just voting for him because he was black, and I say, that too was insulting to me. Don't play me small. I'm not that small. I'm not that small. Don't play me small. I would never vote for anyone based on gender or race. I'm voting for Barack Obama not because he's black. I'm voting for Barack Obama because he's brilliant. He's brilliant. He is brilliant. So, just like a lot of you in here, I've run into a lot of women who say that they'd already made up their mind before this race started. They say, I'm a woman, I have to vote for a woman. I say that's one way to go. But as free women, you have the right to change your mind. As free women, you have the right to change your mind. That's in this election and in all things. You have the right to change your mind. That's whether you're talking about families or jobs, relationships, trouble with your meals. You have the right to change your mind. You're not a traitor because you believe and see a better way. I tell all of my friends, and we've had some heated discussions, I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm just asking you to think and be led by what is the truth for you. Even my Republican friends say that there's something about Barack Obama that touches him. I have a lot of Republican friends. They're nice people, too. And they say there's something about them that touches them. One of my Republican friends says they were watching, the family was watching the Republican debates the other day, and they have a 3-year-old son. And their 3-year-old son was and said, where is Rockamama? Where is Rockamama? Even the child shall lead them. Even a child shall lead them. No one knows more about the character, the heart, or the intention of Barack Obama than the woman who agreed to take this journey with him. Who, through her own courage and her own sacrifice and dedication to public service, has already shown us that she's going to make some kind of tremendous first lady of this nation. Ladies and gentlemen, Michelle Obama.
Now, you see who's up here with me. This man is one of my favorite people in the entire world. And he was not scheduled to be here, but he heard that we were here, and he wanted to come because he's got a little special something that he wants to share with all of us. Let's give it up for Mr. Stevie Wonder.
It is in the spirit of all of our ancestors, it is in the spirit of God, in the spirit of life, in the spirit of those who lived and died for the principles of this country and the world and unity that I'm here. And by the way, I was so busy looking at Michelle being the next First Lady that I kind of lost my way. But I just wanted to say, I have, and I see the vision, as did I when others did not believe it could happen. When I said, we're going to have a King holiday, and it did happen. I saw the vision of a free South Africa, and that's why when I was called to the stage to accept my honors in the spirit of God, I just said, I accept this award in the name of Nelson Mandela. I see a time where we will have a united people of the United States, and that is why I support Barack Obama. Make it clear, I have much respect for former President Clinton because I supported him both times when he won. And as well, I said yes for Hillary Clinton as senator. But I now say yes to someone who I feel can bring us together as a people, the united people of these United States. And I want you all to remember this melody and say it as you go along throughout the day. It's very simple. You sing, Barack Obama, Barack Obama. Say, Barack. Sit down, Barack Obama. God bless you and congratulations.
America could Michelle Obama be following Caroline Kennedy, Oprah Winfrey, and Stevie Wonder? And I want to just give a special thanks. We are so grateful to Maria for all that she is doing for this campaign, her power, her wisdom. She is a phenomenal leader here in the state, and Barack and I are truly grateful to have her friendship and her support and her energy. Thank you so much, Maria. Also to the students, faculty, staff, and administrators of UCLA, go Bruins. And of course, we couldn't do anything. We would not be in this position if it weren't for the volunteers, people who have given up their lives, left school, left jobs, sleeping on floors, knocking on doors, our precinct captains. We can make this happen on Tuesday because of you. Thank you all so much. So this has been an amazing journey, truly amazing. It has required faith and patience and sacrifice, but it has been one of the most rewarding things that I have ever done in my entire life, because it has given me the opportunity to walk into the homes of thousands of Americans across this country, to talk and to listen and to be reminded that there is truly more than unites us than divides us. We are so close in this country to being a United States. And people ask me, how do I feel throughout this journey? And I tell them, you know, every single day I am thinking about my girls, Malia and Sasha. I do this because of them, because, you know, in America, we all say we love our children, don't we? We love our children. They break our hearts. We want them to be able to dream of anything for themselves. I want my girls to travel this world with pride. I believe that in 2008, we should be in a place where children can dream of any kind of life for themselves, regardless of their race, their gender, their socioeconomic status. They should be able to dream big dreams and know that they're going to have the love and resources of this entire nation behind them. That is the least that we can do for our children. But the truth is that we're not there yet. And we know we're not there yet. We're almost there, but in 2008, we are still a nation that is too divided. We live in isolation, and because of that isolation, we fear one another. We don't know our neighbors. We don't talk. We believe that our pain is our own. We don't realize that the struggles and challenges of all of us are the same. We are too isolated. And we are still a nation that is still too cynical, particularly young people. They say you won't vote. They say you won't vote. They say it because they believe that, like many Americans, you will fold your arms in disgust and look at this process as if it is someone else's problem. We look at it as them and they, as opposed to us. We don't engage because we are still too cynical. And there's still a level of meanness in this culture. And as a mother raising young girls, trust me, I don't want them to be mean girls. I want them to understand that we can talk to one another civilly. But in this society, sometimes we mistake toughness for meanness. We like tough talk. And we pass that on to our children. And I don't want that for my girls. And we are still a nation that is too guided by fear. We have become afraid of everyone and everything, and the problem with fear is that it clouds our judgment, and it cuts us off. It cuts us off from one another in our own homes, in our own communities, and it has certainly cut us off from the rest of the world. You see, the problem with fear is that it creates a veil of impossibility. And we spend more time in this society talking about what won't work what we can't do, what can't happen. And see, the problem is that we pass that on to our children. And we're creating a generation of young people who are hesitant, and they're doubtful, and they're insular, and they don't try because someone always already told them why they can't do it. And I don't want that for my girls. And I don't want that for any of our children. But part of the problem and the challenge is that when you are a nation that is struggling every day, which most regular folks are, it is hard to move out of the isolation, to move away from the fear. And I know we are a nation that is struggling, regular folks every day. And I look at my life, the life that I came from, and I look at how America has become increasingly more complicated for regular folks. And I know that looking back on my life. I tell everybody that I grew up on the south side of Chicago, the product of a working class community. That way back in the day when I was a little girl, that a father like mine, a blue-collar worker, could get up and go to work every single day and raise a family of 4 on a city worker's salary. You could do that back then. There was nothing miraculous about my life. I went to the neighborhood schools around the corner. I tell people, when you look at me, I don't want you to see the next first lady. I want you to see what an investment in public education looks like. Because I would not be here if it weren't for those solid neighborhood schools with good teachers. I wouldn't be here. But maybe the only thing miraculous about my life was that I saw hard work and sacrifice firsthand. You see, in my household, I had a father with a disability who got up and went to work every single day. And he didn't make excuses, he didn't complain, because you know what? My father was proud of the fact that he could get up and take care of a family that counted on him. Imagine a man like my father, a woman like my mother, neither with a college education, being able to send not 1 but 2 of their children to Princeton. Imagine the pride that they felt, that they had to forego their dreams but could help us reach for things that they could only imagine. That is all that my parents lived for. That is what gave them pride and honor. See, and the truth about America is that the story of my father is the American story. See, most Americans are like my father. They just don't want much. Folks don't want much. Folks want to know that if they get up and go to work every day, that they'll earn enough to take care of their families. They want to know that they can ensure their kids get a decent education at those neighborhood public schools around the corner. They want to know that if they get sick, they won't go bankrupt. They want to know that after a lifetime of hard work, that they can retire with a little respect and dignity. That's all folks want. But the sad truth in this country today is that that little bitty slice of life that folks are looking for has become out of reach for most Americans. The simple little life I had has become a virtual impossibility, and we all know this. You see, jobs like my father had, those blue-collar jobs, out of reach, dwindling, disappearing, and if you're lucky enough to have a job, salaries aren't keeping up with the cost of living, so everybody's got to work. You can't stay at home with your kids because you need 1, 2, 3 salaries, and don't be a single parent in this country. There are millions of them feeling like failures because you can't keep up on a single salary. You can't go to parent-teacher conferences and do homework with your kids, make sure they stay out of trouble. Not in America if you're a single parent. And education is so uneven. No Child Left Behind is sucking the life out of our teachers. Our children are being tested to death. And college has become a dream. All of you here, many of you here in UCLA, you are here because you did everything that everyone asked you to do. You were like me, kids like me, and we all know millions of them. Did their homework, studied, prepared, got to the point where they were ready, got admitted, and looked at the cost of college and said, I can't do this. And for those of us who took the chance and made the investment, took out loans, we will find ourselves in 4 or 5 or 6 years so mired in debt that we have to give up the careers of our dreams. See, in America, you can't afford to be a teacher, a social worker, a nurse, because the cost of the degree is not covered by the salary that you'll earn. And Barack and I know this because we're 3 years outside of paying down our educational debt. See, we got those good degrees, and we didn't have trust funds. Nothing wrong with trust funds, but we didn't have one. I'm still waiting for Barack's trust fund. I was a little hopeful when I heard about that Dick Cheney relationship. I thought, well, maybe this is it. But alas, the only reason we are out of debt today is because Barack wrote 2 best-selling books, and that is not an outstanding financial plan, trust me. But we were lucky, and it shouldn't be based on luck because we did just what people asked us to do. They said, work hard, get your education, bring those skills and gifts back to your community. And with every job we took, we made less money. And there are millions of young couples out there like us doing exactly what we've asked them to do, but they are at a point where they can't even save for their own kids' college because they still haven't paid off their debt. And don't get sick in this country, not here. Americans are in debt not because they live frivolously, but because someone got sick. And even with insurance, the deductibles and premiums are so high that people are still putting medication treatments on credit cards, and they can't get out from under. I could go on and on and on, but this is how we're living, people, in 2008. And things have gotten progressively worse throughout my lifetime, through Democratic and Republican administrations. It hasn't gotten better for regular folks. And what Barack says, that our greatest challenge is not that we are suffering from a deficit of resources. We're a wealthy nation. We are not suffering from a deficit of policies and plans because we know what we have to do. If you take education, there are thousands of outstanding public schools all over this country. We know what they look like. We know how much they cost. We know how they should be structured. See, the problem is, as Barack says, we have lost the will to ensure that all kids have access to those schools. Because what Barack says that we are suffering from, our greatest challenge is that we are suffering from a deficit of empathy. We have lost the understanding that in a democracy, we have a mutual obligation to one another. That we cannot measure our greatness in the society by the strongest and richest of us, but we have to measure our greatness by the least of these. That we have to compromise and sacrifice for one another in order to get things done. That is why I am here, because Barack Obama is the only person in this race who understands that. That before we can work on the problems, we have to fix our souls. Our souls are broken in this nation. We have lost our way. And it begins with inspiration. It begins with leadership that can make us look differently at ourselves and one another. That we cannot compromise and sacrifice for people that we don't care about, that we don't trust. If we can't see ourselves in one another, we will never make those sacrifices. So I am here right now because I am married to the only person in this race who has a chance of healing this nation. because I'm married to him. I think he's cute, I like him. But I say that because I am a mother and a professional and a woman. I have all these hats and I care about change. And what counts in this race, in my view, is character. It is character. And as my father always said, you measure the character of an individual not by what they do when everybody is looking. I don't care what you did after you decided you wanted to be president. I want to know, what were you doing in the shadows when no one knew who you were? What kind of choices did you make in your life? And people, I am here because I know this man, and I know who he is, and I know what kind of choices that he's made over a lifetime, and they make him different. They make him special, and we won't see this again. See, this is a young man who grew up like regular folks, the product of a single parent household. His mother was 18-year-old white woman trying to raise a black kid in the 60s. Now, she had to be a dreamer, and she was a little bit naive, but because of that, sometimes they lived on food stamps. But Barack, because of her dreaming, got to see the world. See, because that little girl from Kansas had the nerve to think that she could travel the world and study women's issues in places like Indonesia. So Barack got to see the world in ways that most Americans do not. The United States, who looks at other countries with a level of respect and understanding without fear. Imagine a president of the United States who understands the impact that a great nation like ours can have to a small village near Kisumu in Africa, not because he's gotten a policy briefing, but because he has a grandmother who lives in that little village. Imagine a president of the United States who was raised like I was, with values, things like truth matters, honesty counts, that your word is your bond, you do what you say. See, we were raised to understand that when you're a working class kid out here, you don't feel entitled to anything. That you know you have to work harder, be tougher, be smarter, be quicker than anyone. You do it. And you treat other people with dignity and respect, even if you don't know them and you don't agree with them. And there is nothing more important in this world than your commitment to your family and your community. Imagine a president of the United States who will bring that kind of sensibility to the Oval Office. We haven't seen that in a long time. But what Barack did was he took those values and put them into action, always trying to figure out how to live those values. See, because when you were raised like us, watching your parents and grandparents sacrifice for you, you know that you're blessed. And you know that to whom much is given, much is expected. So you don't sit on your blessings. So what does Barack do? The first major decision he had to make in his life after college: do I go to Wall Street and make money, or do I work for the people? Barack worked as a community organizer in some of the toughest neighborhoods on the south side of Chicago, helping young mothers find their voice and their power, folks who had a reason to be cynical because government had forgotten them long ago. There is no one else in this race who can claim that kind of commitment to people on the ground. No one. And I would think, as a nation like ours, we would demand that kind of engagement before you could even consider wanting to be president of the United States. But it doesn't stop there. Barack's a lawyer, I'm a lawyer, probably everybody in this auditorium's a lawyer, too many lawyers. And many of the lawyers in this race made their millions before they decided to help the people, not Barack. Not because he couldn't, because Barack was the first African-American president of the Harvard Law Review. No one else can claim that distinction. No one else can. You talk about raising the bar. Set the bar, Barack leaped over the bar. But what did he do with those skills? He didn't sell them to the highest bidder. He became a constitutional law scholar, a civil rights attorney in a small firm. Why? Because to whom much is given, much is expected. And when you are given the gift of advocacy, you give it to the least of these. Barack goes into politics not to amass power. Barack is not naive. When you worked on the streets and you worked in the halls of justice, you know you can't just make change with hope. You've got to be able to affect the powers that be. So he goes into the Illinois State Senate for 8 years. No other candidate in this race can claim that amount of years at the state legislative level. And wouldn't it be nice to have a president who understood how federal law impacts local government? And let me tell you something, just wasn't in any state. It was in Illinois, some of the meanest, toughest politics. We live in Chicago, people. Don't worry about whether Barack is tough enough to handle the Republicans. We have seen it all. And in that climate of challenge, Barack brought his values to the table and was able to get things done. Things like expanding health care for kids in our state, passing ethics reform in a state that hadn't seen it in more than 25 years, working on racial profiling, helping to mend a broken death penalty system that sent dozens of innocent men to death row. See, these aren't issues you take on because you're trying to curry favor. These are issues you take on because you're trying to work for change. Barack is one of the most respected politicians in the state of Illinois because of his values. And if you want to know how values and judgment and courage affects decisions, we need only look at the war in Iraq. And I will never let anybody forget that, because that was an instance where all the years of Washington insider conventional thinking didn't get us to the right answer. We had people marching us into this war, and the only person who stood out and said that this war was wrong is Barack Obama. Now, what his opponents will say is that Barack didn't have to take a vote, but what they won't tell you is that Barack wasn't voting because he was in the midst of trying to get to the U.S. Senate. When he spoke out, he was in the midst of his own tough U.S. Senate primary, a race that he wasn't supposed to win. Because you know what they were saying about Barack in Illinois? Mean, tough Illinois. They said he was too young. They said that he was too inexperienced. They said he should wait his turn. They said he couldn't raise the money. They said he couldn't build the political organization to match an Illinois family that had been running for years. Does this sound familiar? They said he was too black. They said that he wasn't black enough. And then when all that didn't work, they threw in a fear bomb and they said his name is funny, and there's no way that white folks in downstate Illinois will vote for a man named Barack Obama. So let me tell you some people, if Barack doesn't look upset when he's getting slung with those mud pies, it's because he's heard it all before. See, one thing we have learned is that when power is confronted with real change, they will say anything. But even in that climate, Barack stood tall and he said, let me try telling people what I think. And he said publicly, this war is wrong. It's going to cost us millions of dollars and thousands of lives. And the beauty of that is that he still won his U.S. Senate seat by wide margins. He won among blacks and whites and women and men, upstate, downstate, progressives. Because you see, the truth is, America can handle the truth. But sometimes we don't know what the truth looks like because we haven't seen it in such a long time. question in this race is not whether Barack Obama is ready. That is the game of politics. Barack, as Oprah said, is one of the most brilliant men you will meet in our lifetime. Barack is more than ready. He'll be ready today. He'll be ready on day one. He'll be ready in a year from now, 5 years from now. He is ready. That is not the question. The question is, what are we ready for? Wait. Because we say we're ready for change. We say we're ready for change, but see, change is hard. Change will always be hard, and it doesn't happen from the top down. We do not get universal health care. We don't get better schools because somebody else is in the White House. We get change because folks from the grassroots up decide they are sick and tired of other people telling them how their lives will be. When they decide to roll up their sleeves and work. And Barack Obama will require you to work. He is going to demand that you shed your cynicism, that you put down your division, that you come out of your isolation, that you move out of your comfort zones, that you push yourselves to be better, and that you engage. Barack will never allow you to go back to your lives as usual. Uninvolved, uninformed. You have to stay at the seat of the table of democracy with a man like Barack Obama. Not just on Tuesday, but in a year from now, in 4 years from now, in 8 years from now, you will have to be engaged. I'm getting a little beside myself. You will have to be engaged. And we are going to need you. I hold no level of fear in this race because there is no expectation that we are doing this alone. We will need all of you standing with us, praying with us, working with us every step of the way, because that's how change happens in this country. And if you need any further evidence of what we need to do, I'm going to tell you a story about this little girl that I met in Newberry, South Carolina, 2 days before the South Carolina primary. It was in a beauty shop, and it was packed, and folks were pumped up because I had pumped them up. I did a good job of pumping them up. And this little girl came up to me and she said, "Ms. Obama, I'd like to tell you something." And I said, "Okay, well, how old are you? 40, 50? She seemed so old." She said, "No, I'm 10. She said, "Do you realize that when Barack Obama becomes the next president of the United States, it will be historical?" And I said, "Well, yeah." But I said, "But what does that mean to you?" And she said, "It means that I can imagine anything for myself in this world." And then that little girl started to cry. She broke down and she started crying because, you see, that little girl understands. She knows. You know, that little girl understands the limitations that are already set for her. She knows that she is already 5 steps behind. And she has heard so many people already tell her what she can't do. She knows about that veil of impossibility because it is suffocating her. And see, the truth is that she knows that she is better than anybody's limited expectations of her. But she is looking to us for some sign that we are ready to move this country in a way that's going to push her light to the forefront. You see, because the truth is that this is all about dreams. Dreaming is everything. Don't let anybody fool you. Dreams and inspiration are everything. Because let me tell you something, if it weren't for a little dreaming, I wouldn't be here. See, because I was that 10-year-old little girl. I am not supposed to be here. I wasn't supposed to go to Princeton because somebody told me my test scores weren't high enough. I wasn't supposed to go to Harvard Law School because they said it would be too much for me. Every step of the way in my life, and so many of you out there have been told, no, don't, you can't, wait, we're not ready. Wait your turn. All the while knowing in your heart that you are better than anybody's limited expectations of you. And if we don't learn anything else through this race, I want young people out there to understand that if they push past other people's limited expectations of them and reach for their seats at the table that others feel so entitled to, when they get to that table, they are going to find that they are just as ready, just as qualified, just as capable as anyone sitting around that table. See, because those doubts and fears that we fester in this society, those are a lie. So we need to do a little dreaming. Dream of the day that a man like Barack Obama is standing in front of the Capitol with his hand on the Bible, taking the oath of office to become the next president of the United States. And just imagine what that image, what message that will send to all these little kids in this nation. And if we can do that here in this country, imagine what we can do around the world. You see, we all know the world is watching. We have young kids all over the world who are looking to this nation, and they're trying to figure out who we are and what we want to become. We have a chance not just to make history, but we can change the world. We can change the world. Yes, we can. 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 So now, just in case you didn't think that there were more surprises that we could have, I got one more surprise for you. Because right now I'm going to invite on the stage someone who means a great deal to me. Not Barack, I like him, but he's somewhere else. But this is an individual who understands this state very well. Somebody who understands the struggle of women. Someone who knows a few of these women on the stage, but who is here because of her own power, her own voice. This is a woman who I would model myself after. Someone who makes her own decisions, who doesn't take no for an answer, who is here not because of what somebody told her she should do, but she's here because of what she believes to be the best decision for this nation. It is my honor to introduce to you the First Lady of the state, Maria Shriver.
Okay, sit down, girls. Wow. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle Obama. This is a woman who's an extraordinary wife, an extraordinary mother, daughter, and a great American. And I want to thank you for your service to this country, because I know all too well what it's like when someone in your family gets up and says, I'm running for office. You may have had other plans, you may have had another job, but guess what? I'm running for office. And it's even harder when that person's running for President of the United States. And so I want to ask all of you to give not only this woman a shout out, but give a shout out to everybody who has a spouse running for President of the United States. And actually, while you're at it, because California is about unity and because we're about leadership, we should give a shout out to everybody who's running for President of the United States, because I really believe that these are all good people. They're all following their own truth. They're all following their own voice. And they all believe that they can make a difference in this country. And they're getting out of their own lives and trying to make a difference. And that's what each and every one of you is doing by being here today. So give a shout out to everybody who's got the courage to run for president. I'm thrilled to be up here with such 4 extraordinary women. Some of whom I've known a really long time, and all of whom I admire tremendously. And speaking of women I admire, there's a woman I admire, and I have her quote above my computer in my office at home. It's Eleanor Roosevelt. And she has this great quote, and it says, "Do one thing every day that scares you." Eleanor, wherever you are, this is my one thing for today, okay? Because I'm sure, like every single person in this room, a lot of people told you you should be for this person, you can't do this, you can't do that, speak up, don't speak up, go over here, go over there. So sometimes when you're following your own truth and your own voice, it's scary, right? It's scary. But that's the only thing you can do if you're living your own life and not someone else's life, is follow your own truth. So I'm standing here today, not because I'm cousins with her, not because I'm best friends with her, not because I admire her or her. I'm standing here because I want to be here. And I wasn't on the schedule. I wasn't on the schedule. And I thought to myself when I woke up this morning, I thought, there is no place I should be but right here today. And I want to give a little shout out to my daughter, Catherine, who's a first-time voter, and I was at a horse show with her, which is why I'm attired like this, and I haven't brushed my hair, and I didn't do my makeup. And I said to her at 7:30 this morning, I think I should be at UCLA. And she said to me, Mommy, if you think you can help, if you think you can change just one person, if you think you can make a difference, then go. And so I am here today as a woman and as a Californian. And I believe that elections are a lot like life. They're made up of moments. If you think about your own life, every single person in here, and close your eyes for just a second, you'll think about the moments in your life. When you got into school, the school you always wanted to go to. You think about the first moment, the first time you fell in love. You think about getting married, or the first time you gave birth to a child. You think about getting that job you always dreamt about, or getting out of that job that was stifling you or crippling you. It's about moments. And the more I thought about it, I thought this election is about a moment. And this is a moment not just for the United States of America. This is a moment not just for the Democratic Party. This is also a moment for California. And And the more I thought about it, I thought, you know, if Barack Obama was a state, he'd be California. That's right. I mean, think about it. Think about it. Diverse, open, smart, independent, bucks tradition, innovative, inspiring, dreamer, leader. And the thing I like the best, keep going, okay. I'm gonna bring you home with me. He's not about himself, he's about us. And I've seen firsthand how hard it is to bring people together. And if that's not your whole mantra, it ain't gonna happen. And he's not about himself, he's about the power of us and what we can do when we come together. Because as everybody up here has said, there is much more that unites us than divides us. He is about empowering women, African Americans, Latinos, older people, young people. He's about empowering all of us. And I think, as we have said today, the greatest source of empowerment is to follow your own truth. You may be here, and a year ago you never thought you'd be here. Maybe you never thought you'd be here 24 hours ago, or a couple hours ago. But the point is, you're here. You've been empowered to be here. You're inspired to be here. You've been led to believe in your dreams and the possibility of what will happen if we could actually all come together. If we could actually get across our racial divides, our political divides, our age divides. What would happen if we actually came together? And now we're at a moment when we have someone who's saying, you can be a part of this. There's a great Hopi prayer, and it ends with, we are the ones we have been waiting for. We are the ones we have been waiting for. So every single person can come to you and tell you, you should vote for this person, or you should vote for that person, or it's not right to speak up, or it's not right to speak out. But this is a moment. It's a moment to have a conversation with yourself, not with anybody else. Have a conversation with your own heart and ask yourself, what kind of America do I believe in? Do I believe in an America that's about unity? It's about coming together. It's about seeing beyond the labels. We've got to see beyond the labels that divide us. And if that's the kind of America I want, I think it'll be very clear to you what you should do on Tuesday. But most important, every single person in this room is experiencing a moment. Every single person in this room can be an agent of change. Every single person in this room can go out and talk to
This event, Michelle,
who may be undecided, who may feel it doesn't matter or their vote doesn't count. But each and every one of us count. Each and every one of us has a moment right now to follow our own truth, to follow our own voices, and to be a leader. California has a primary that's been, we're the epicenter of change. We can lead this country. I stand here today, and I'm standing here with these women, voices, different age groups, I'm sure Democrats and independents alike, because you believe. You believe in each and every one of yourselves, most importantly, and you believe that one who believes in you. So I would ask you to go out, to follow your heart, to be proud that you're doing that, and to remember that so goes California, so goes the nation. Thank you.